So first, I would like to say, here were my options today, by the way. Being here or being with Kevin Durant, okay? So, I mean, I got a tough life. I do all the TV for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and this is the first game this year that I've missed because I asked him, I said, look, I have something really important that I have to do, and so that's why I'm here. And I love being here because some of my best times in my life were spent in the state of Virginia. A lot of you know I went to Old Dominion University, but let me tell you a little bit about me first. First, let me start with this. Anybody ever hear about the man who was drowning? Anybody know that story about the man that was drowning? Okay, so this guy is in this water, and he's drowning, and his hands are up, and this guy comes over in a canoe, and he goes, sir, grab my hand. Just grab my hand. Annie, grab my hand. Grab my hand. And he goes, no, I'm fine. God's going to save me. Don't worry, I don't need your help. Well, then another boat, a speedboat, comes over to the guy and goes, sir, grab my hand. I'll help you. No, it's okay. I'm a man of God. I'm a religious guy. I mean, God's going to save me. Well, a helicopter comes over, and they drop a ladder. And they said, sir, grab the rope. He goes, no, I don't need the rope. God will protect me. I have faith. A guy swims over. He hands him his life vest. He goes, sir, grab the life vest. He goes, I don't need the life vest. I am a man of faith. Well, the man drowns. And he goes to heaven. And he goes, God, I've been like a holy man. Why didn't you save me? And God goes, I sent a man in a canoe. I sent a helicopter. I sent a speedboat. I had a guy swim out and try and give you his life preserver. And you said no. Sometimes in life, no matter what you do, you have to get a little help. Nobody who's ever been great has done it by themselves. I'm telling you, not Michael Jackson, not Warren Buffett, not Donald Trump, not Coach Abel. Is he here? Oh. You know, the one thing that I know to be true in life and in sports is it's the people around you that make a difference. So think about this. One day, there was this little girl, and she wanted to make this Olympic team. And she comes home and she tells her mom, Ma, you're not going to believe this. I tried out for this USA team, and I made it. And now I'm going to Albuquerque, New Mexico, because the next phase of the tryouts are there. And I'm going to fly out there. And the mother goes, you can't go. We're poor. We don't have any heat. We don't have any lights. I can barely put food on the table. And the little girl looks at her mom and goes, come on, Mom. I mean, this means something to me. I love to play sports. I want to play basketball. I know I can make that Olympic team. So they took a can of corn and they opened it up and they cleaned it out. And then the assistant athletic director at the high school, back in the day, they had a typewriter. Do you guys know about typewriters? And they typed a letter and it says, we're endeavoring to raise money to send our young lady to the Olympic trials. If you could just, and they took this thing door to door. And strangers put in 1s and 5s and 10s and change until there was enough money to raise to send this kid to the Olympic trials back in 1974. That kid was me. That was me. Strangers put money in a can. I would not be here in front of you today without somebody who I didn't know helping me. And that's why I come here. Because after today, we're going to be like family. Because we all need to be connected to one another. I can tell you stories about overcoming obstacles. I can tell you about people who inspired me. But the greatest thing for me at 8 years old was seeing my mom, who had nothing, trying to dump money out of her purse, change, so we could put money in a car to get gas to find my father to pay alimony. And I stood there at 8 years old, and I'm from New York. Like, I'm like straight New York. Like, I used to talk like this. Like, what you looking at, Annie? You talking to me? And in 1980, I paid $2,000 when I was working at ESPN to change my accent. I had to go to elocution school so I could be here at Washington and Lee and be articulate. But I used to talk like this. I had like that attitude and that swag, you know? Oh, I was a pistol, really. I could have fit in here. And I look back, that was one of the first epiphanies in my life, because I sat there with my brother and I said, what just happened? They turned the lights off. He goes, we're poor. I'm like, you're poor. I ain't poor. And he goes, we're poor. I say, you're poor and I'm going to beat you up. And he goes, well, that wasn't really good conflict resolution, but I was 8. And I was angry. And I said that day, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, but somehow God's going to bless me. I'm going to be special and I'm going to change the world. This is an 8-year-old. I mean, Dr. Phil wasn't even around yet to tell me what I had, okay? So I'm watching TV, and there's this man on TV. And this is exactly what happened. And I'm 10. He goes, I'm the greatest of all times. I beat Joe Foreman like I beat Sonny Liston back, like I beat George Foreman. I beat Joe Frazier like I beat Sonny Liston back in 1964. I'm too pretty not to be the champion of the world. I am the greatest of all times. Who is that?
Ali.
Muhammad Ali. The greatest of all time. So I walk into the kitchen and I look at my mother and I go, I'm going to be the greatest of all times. And I'm going to be the greatest basketball player. She goes, why are you talking like that? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to knock you out in 4 rounds. And my mother says, I am your mother. 2 rounds. I don't know what I'm going to do to the kid, but I don't like him. She goes, he is your brother. I said, yes, I know. And I'm walking out of my kitchen in Far Rockaway, New York, and I just put my hands on my hips and I go, you better get used to me. I'm going to make history. I'm going to be the greatest women's basketball player ever. And I was 10. Who does that? I don't know why I did it. But this man, the black heavyweight champion of the world, the white little Jewish kid, a girl from New York, right? What looks unequal, he hit my heart. So Muhammad Ali taught me that I could be anything I want to be if I believed in me. It was about your attitude and your belief. And then, because I trusted this guy, because I believed in this guy, because I listened every time he said, I'm going to be the greatest, I became the youngest Olympic basketball player ever. I was a senior in high school in '76 when we won the silver medal. It was amazing because they said, you're too young to be on the U.S. team. You're not experienced enough to be on the U.S. team. High school kids can't do that. And, you know, I look back on it and I take a little bit of Eminem. I am who I say I am. You don't get to tell me who I am. And what Muhammad taught me at that stage of my life was that if I'm a better me, we'll be a better we, then we'll be a better they, and then exponentially, this school, you in this room, you get a chance to affect the world. You get a chance to affect the person that you're sitting shoulder to shoulder with, because it's about your attitude and your belief. Then I'm 19 and I'm doing an appearance in New York, and I am the featured, I mean, I'm coming home from the Olympics. We've already won one national championship at Old Dominion. I'm player of the year in college basketball. We went 37-1. The Olympic Committee asked me to do an appearance. I go to New York, my hometown. The other athlete that day making an appearance was Muhammad Ali. Okay, they put me in a room with him and I couldn't breathe. My fingernails were blue. I couldn't breathe. This is my hero. My mother walks up to him and she goes, Mr. Muhammad, my daughter Nancy, she's the greatest of all time. He goes, listen, lady, I'm the greatest of all time. There's one of us. There's not two of us. And my mother goes, but Mr. Muhammad, you don't understand. My daughter, she's great. So I'm sitting there with a young man, Howard Davis. He was on the Olympic boxing team in '76 with me and Sugar Ray Leonard. And he looks at Howard, he goes, Howard, the kid's mother's starting to annoy me. She says the kid's the greatest of all time. And Howard turns around and goes, so he goes like this. He goes, little girl, come here. And I walk up, and I was really shy, and he looks at me, he goes, are you good? And I was like, yeah. He goes, how good? I'm like, I'm the greatest of all times. And he gives me a hug, he goes, baby, I didn't know there were two of us. From that day forth, he's been my lifelong friend. How many people can say Muhammad Ali has been their lifelong friend? And I took my son TJ, who now plays basketball at the University of Richmond, I took him a couple years ago to meet Muhammad because I wanted him to see the man that influenced his mom's life. So the one thing I learned from Muhammad Ali that has resonated with me my whole career, think about it, the greatest love of all, I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is inside of me. Me. If you don't believe in you, why should I believe in you? You got to love you. That is half of what being a leader is. So we have this amazing leadership conference, and the school has put a lot of time and money and effort into having people come here to share their stories with you. You got to love you. That, seriously, I mean, I look back on my career and I can tell you that when I was younger, I probably didn't have the confidence and the self-esteem that I should have had. But if you put in the work, if you do the things that you have to, if you put, it's called habit, it's called sustainable habits. Okay, so you know I work, as I told you before, my second year now that I'm the studio analyst for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Every single day, they work on sustainable habits. I can be better tomorrow than I was today. Can you? Can you? Can you, Coach? We can be better. Better means how I communicate. I make a great pass. You score. What do? You point at me, right? You chest bump. You high five. Hey, man, thank you. That you're saying to your teammate, thank you for making me better. Thank you for making me better. Pete Maravich, I have this letter right here in my notes. In 1986, March 17th, I got this from Pete's wife. You guys remember who Pete Maravich is, right? One of the greatest players, one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history. He was on the Larry King show, and he wrote a letter to Larry saying, Dear Larry, thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate giving me this platform. Larry, one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my career was repetition. I did things over and over and over and over and over again, and that became a habit. Whether it was ball handling, whether it was shooting, whether it was passing, I worked every single day to be better. Now, I had God-given talent, but it was those sustainable moments of practice that helped take me to places that I never thought we would be. That's Pete Maravich writing this letter, a handwritten letter to Larry King. So everybody in this room today, we can all get better. I mean, I know we can. And leadership is about, I'm serious, it's about how you walk, it's about how you talk, it's about what you give, it's not about what you take. I know, I was selfish. I was supposed to be a leader at Old Dominion. and you've just seen videos about how great I am and, you know, everything that I've done. It was the end of my my sophomore year at Old Dominion. Marianne Stanley, who's a Hall of Fame coach, brought me in for my exit meetings with her, and she looked me dead in the eye. We went 30-4. We had just won the women's NIT. She said, Nancy, if you will make Ing Nissen an All-American, if you will make Ann Donovan an All-American, if you'll make Jan Tremblay All-State, I think we can win the national championship. And I was a point guard. And I was like, okay, what do I have to do? She goes, you have to shoot less. I go, I'm really not comfortable with this conversation. And she looked at me like, what do you mean? I said, you just mentioned shoot less. I'm a really good volume shooter. And I was averaging about 22, 23 points a game, but I was probably taking about 25 shots. She said, you need to shoot about 10, 12, 13 times a game. And I went, what? I was having a hard time. She was like, I'm going to ask you a question. She said, Nancy, do you make you good, or do you make people around you good? And I said, yeah, I make people better. I'm all-American here. I was very humble. And, and she goes, I need you to pass the ball. I said, I do. I get like 9 assists a game. She goes, Nancy, do this for me. I thought about it during the summer. I came back and I made a decision that I was going to make people around me better. I was going to try, okay? I went from taking 25 shots a game to taking 10 shots a game. I averaged about 16, 17 points instead of 25 points. Old Dominion goes 37-1. We won our first national championship. I was National Player of the Year. Second epiphany in my life. Wow, I could actually make people better, win, and get the individual glory that apparently I was seeking, okay? So now everything started to fit into place. My second year, we go 35, and my senior year, we go 35-1. We go back to back, we go 72-2. We win our second consecutive championship. Those girls make all the honors. I'm 2-time Player of the Year in college basketball and a winner. What a noble concept. Make somebody around you better. So I will ask you right here at WNL, do you make people around you better every day? Do you make people around you better every day? Make it a habit. I mean, change is hard. I'm telling you, I know this to be true. Okay, you ready? Change. I want everybody here, if you can do this for me, fold your arms the way you feel comfortable folding it. Everybody. I see you back there, okay? Come on, I got laser vision. Everybody. Fold your arms like this. Okay, now fold your arms opposite. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? Change is hard. Doesn't it feel weird? Yeah. And it's just how we get comfortable doing something one way. Until somebody asks us to change and to be better. When I was coaching my guys in the NBA D League, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, you know, how are you going to coach men? You are a girl. I'm like, thank you. I wasn't sure. So I get in there, and we had a mantra with our coaches. Agree, disagree. When we walk out of this room tonight, everybody, we're going to be aligned. You can write that down. This is what you're going to take with you in life. Agree, disagree, align. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm the head coach, and I'm going to make the final decision after we've hashed it around. It can get loud. It's okay. It doesn't mean I don't like you. You should be in Popovich's, his coaches' meetings. They're yelling, they're cussing at each other. They walk out, they're like kumbaya, okay? It's amazing, okay? Girls, I wish we did that, okay? If we did that, we wouldn't talk to each other for like 8 months. We'd stop texting each other. I don't like her. She's off Twitter. I'll show her. I'll unfriend you. Y'all can laugh, but you know it's true. So everything that we do when we talk about leadership, think about it. Leadership is a title. I can lead because I have a little swag, you know, I can do this. I can lead because I have more money. I can be a leader because my job on my card says I have a better job than you. Or maybe I can just lead because I show a good example. I don't have to bully you to lead. But I think by and large, people want to, there's enough people that we deal with every day. If we're honest, there are people that we don't like, right? But we have to deal with them. So if you have a chance to be around people that you do like, embrace it. Find those people. All right? Think about it. Everybody here smile. Everybody. Okay? Seriously. If you don't have teeth, no judgment. Just seriously, smile at me. So my smile made you smile. Doesn't it feel good to smile? Yeah. I mean, it's so simple. I'm around my team. We're playing. We got a lot of pressure. There's a chick coaching a men's team. I didn't even know they had an over-under on if I was going to biff in my stilettos. And not only that, but what quarter of what game. Yeah, and you think you have problems? But because we were giving our players positive information, we were talking in positive tones to them. We were using positive trigger words. In our worst moments, we were so strong together. See, when I was at a press conference and they said, oh man, you know, you're a woman, you're not going to be able to coach these guys. I said, what are you talking about? Of course I'm going to be able to coach these guys. Women, we've been telling you what to do your whole life. Your mom, your sister, grandma, your aunt, girlfriend, that's all we do is tell guys what to do. I'm just going to give them a couple plays in between telling them what to do. So instead of being insulted, little humor, right? Sit with me, I'm a minimalist. Little humor, a lot of sarcasm, a lot of truth. And it just resonates with people. It's a really good way and a positive way to be. I've met so many people in my life. I'm telling you, there's not a day that goes by that I'm just not grateful. Like, I wake up in the morning, I open my eyes, I take a breath, and I'm like, okay, it's a good day. Beats the alternative, right? So I wake up positive. And I laugh. I laugh at everything. I mean, my son thinks I'm goofy. I think I'm tremendously funny, okay? I've just never been paid to be funny. But we have the leaders are influencers. You know, influencers of life. Kevin Martin plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves right now, and Kevin was a part of the Thunder last year. And in an interview when he came back to Oklahoma City, they said, what do you miss most? He says, I can't believe how hard Durant and Westbrook practice. He goes, I'd never been on a team before where the best player, if practice was at 10, Durant was in there watching film at 8 in the morning with Westbrook. He said there was so much pressure to be there, to be better, to show up. See, the best part, the most important part of anything you're going to do in life, show up. We have a saying, you can't make the club if you're in the tub, right? If you're always hurt, you're not going to play for me. If you're late to go to class, what you're telling me is you don't value my time, you don't value your teammates' time, you sure as heck don't value your time, you won't play, you'll get only so far. So again, what you project is what you'll get. I was 39 when I played in the WNBA for the Phoenix Mercury back in 1997, the first year of the league. 39. I didn't have a WNBA in my prime. But I can remember being at the Olympics in 1996. I was doing the TV. I'm watching a game. I'm sitting with Magic Johnson. We're watching the guys play. I mean, come on. It's Magic and Lady Magic. I mean, come on. But I've known Irvin, it seems like his whole career, and he looks at me one day and he goes, girl, you gonna play in the WNBA next year? I said, I don't know, I'm gonna be 39, and he goes, Nancy Lieberman, I have never heard you say, I'm not sure. He goes, are you going to play in the WNBA? And I, yes, of course, I'm going to play. So I went home, and I started training. And TJ was 2.5 years old, and I walked into the kitchen. I said, TJ, come here. And he comes over to me. I said, what does your mother do for a living? He goes, you're my mother? I go, no, I don't get paid for that, okay? And I said, TJ, your mother is a basketball player. He goes, my mother's a basketball player. I said, now you go in there and you tell your father that your mother is coming out of retirement. And he runs in the other, and he goes, and Tim's 6'8", he goes, Daddy, we're in trouble. Mommy's coming out of retirement. And they're hand in hand, they're walking to the kitchen. He goes, what's retirement? And I knew then and there I needed magic to challenge me to do things that nobody thought I could do. See, in 1976, they said I was too young to be on an Olympic team. Still the youngest Olympic basketball player in history, male or female. In 1997, I was the oldest player ever in the WNBA at 39. You can do anything you want to do, but it's about your attitude and your belief. See, every one of you can have intentional greatness. You can have intentional greatness. You can have consistency in your life. Do you guys know what this is, by the way? Anybody? Nobody? All right, this is a Dow Joneser, okay? This is the stock market. You do not want to live like this, okay? Trust me. I'm rich. I'm poor. You want to be consistently consistent throughout your career, throughout your lives. Consistent as a person. Consistent as a friend. Consistent in your efforts. And then people notice you. And you know what it's called? He's a great leader. He's here every day early. The man works so hard. Everybody on this team, right? Isn't that what we tell people, Coach? Why can't everybody be like him? You don't have to shout it from the highest mountain. You just have to live it. And then people see what you do. It's amazing what you can do when you believe in yourself. And it's infectious. And people want to be around you. So my first year coaching 4 years ago in the D-League, we get our guys together. Nobody thinks we're going to do anything. We're an expansion team. And they're being coached by some girl. So we go through the season. We're really making a push. Okay? So every step of the way I have to tell you, I learn. I'm always open to learning. So my point guard is Antonio Daniels. 14-year NBA veteran. Made $40 million in his career. Got a ring with the Spurs in 1999. We are like this the whole season. We're just battling. It's my will against his will. You're going to do it my way. I'm going to do it my way. You know, and it was really hard because I didn't trust him and he didn't trust me. So one day I pick up the phone in desperation. Coach Thibodeau, Nancy Lieberman, I could use your help. And Coach goes, how can I help you? I go, how do you handle Derrick Rose? How do you, right? There's strength in asking. See, there's power in asking. It wasn't like, man, they're not going to respect me. I have the resources to pick up a phone and call somebody who might know more than me. That's strength. That's not weakness. So I asked him, I said, I think we can make the playoffs, but two things have to happen for my team. I got to get on the same page with Antonio Daniels, and our defense has to be better. I sat on a floor in my hotel room in Maine with dry erase boards, and I was like, well, we're doing this, and we're trying to get people, we're preloading to the heavy side of the floor, but, you know, and we're talking about boxes, elbows, nails, and all this basketball jargon. The next day, I have the Chicago Bulls defensive playbook FedEx to my house in Dallas, Texas. How unselfish is that? This guy championed me. He made me better. He said, I would recommend you doing this. Instead of me going, well, no, how can you help me? Remember the man that was drowning? I don't need help. I'm Nancy Lieberman. Come on, who are we kidding? Sometimes we all need help so we can be better at what we do. Tom Thibodeau changed everything for me. We became, with 5 games left, we became a better defensive team. He was kind enough to share because he empowered me to be better. He taught me a little bit how to communicate with Antonio Daniels. I saw this guy in practice. I said, Antonio, I will not call another play for the rest of the season. You call every play. And he was like, what? I said, I'll call plays on timeouts and dead balls. You run my basketball team. Can you get us to the playoffs? He said, yes. I said, can you make the right decisions? He said, yes. Now I'm putting equity, right? I'm pouring into him. We're building trust. Last 5 games of the year, Antonio Daniel has 54 assists and 4 turnovers. We become the first expansion team in the history of the NBA D-League to make the playoffs. We make the playoffs on a Saturday. On Sunday, I'm like, thank you. I mean, talk about pressure. I'm cooking in my house. I get a phone call. It's Doug Collins from the Philadelphia 76ers, and I know what he's about to say. He goes, hey, Nance. I'm like, you remember I gave your son his first job. Chris Collins. I did. I hired Chris Collins coaching in Detroit. I go, who are you taking off my team? We have a playoff game in 2 days. He says, I'm taking Antonio Daniels. He was the head of my snake. He was the brains of the operation. I was so sad because I really thought we had a chance to win the next series and get to the D-League finals. But my job was to feature my players and get my players to the next level. Selfishly, we wanted to win. But I had a lot, in the D-League, you have a lot of different pieces of the puzzle. The greatest feeling ever was for me picking up that phone and calling Antonio Daniels and going, AD, you going to the show. He thought his career was over. Over. He gets signed by the Sixers. He goes up there. Lou Williams had a pulled hamstring, and he plays throughout the whole playoffs. And that's how he finished his career. Antonio Daniels is like my son. We're inseparable because we fought. We were muted. 2 muted people, sometimes with your people that you're not happy with or relationships, and you're like, but you don't see it my way. And then, both get muted and you can't hear each other, so you can't solve your problems. Leadership. You have to give me a reason to follow you. You have to give me those reasons. And you can do that. Each and every one of you here with this Leadership Academy, are you kidding me? You'll be able to rock people's world, but you have to be a better me before you can be a better we. Then we can be a better they in that concentric circle of life. Everyone has it in them. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me, and I keep saying one of the greatest things. Most people here think that when Pat Riley started coaching the Lakers in 1980, his first point guard that he ever coached was who? Magic, right? Irvin Johnson? No, his first point guard was Nancy Lieberman. I had heard for years that he told this story in his speeches. And in September, I was at an NBA symposium. 150 guys, all the head coaches in the league, GMs, assistants, not open to the public. Phil Jackson, Doc Rivers, Rick Carlisle, Frank Vogel, and Pat Riley spoke. Pat was the last speaker, and I'm sitting in the front row just like you. And Pat says, I'm going to tell this story before I get into my stuff. He says, in 1980, I was doing TV for the Los Angeles Lakers. And Paul Westhead was the head coach. Dr. Buss and Jerry West said to me, we want you to be Coach Westhead's assistant coach, but you need to get some experience. So they had Pat Riley coach the Lakers Summer League team. It's about a 15-20 game schedule, all their players on that team and their draft picks. So he gets his team together. I'm sitting in the front row, and I got my little, Samsung Note, and I'm filming him. I don't know what he's going to say. I've been filming all the coaches. And he says, I give my first greatest speech of my career. I have my guys, they're stretching on the wall, and I give them the, this is serious, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to win. And late that night, he gets a phone call from Jerry West, Mr. Logo, and he comes and meets him in the office at 8 in the morning, and Dr. Buss and Jerry West says, you've got a new player on the team. They'll be here at 2 o'clock. He goes, I don't want anybody else. I got my team. I'm happy. This is going to wait. I don't want anybody else. Dr. Buss says, you have a new player. Her name is Nancy Lieberman. She will be here at 2 o'clock. Introduce her to her teammates. He goes, I don't want her. I am happy with who I have. Pat, she'll be here at 2. Okay, so I'm sitting in the front row, and he goes, right, Nancy? And I'm like, yes, sir. He says, the first day of practice, we have a 3-hour practice. These guys beat the crap out of her. I mean, these guys, for 3 hours, they were not happy that they weren't as happy as I was to be there. Let's put it that way. These guys are trying to make the NBA, and now there's some girl on the court taking their reps and their possessions. They were not happy. I mean, I got hit, I got screened, I got knocked down, I got elbowed. I never said anything. So this is Pat telling the story, that they just killed me for 3 hours. He would call a drill. He'd say, okay, we're going to run the 11-man break. We're going to run the flex offense. We're going to run motion. And I'm with all these, 14, 15 guys. And every time Pat Riley said, okay, we're going to do this drill. Who knows how to do it? I go, I do. And he goes, how do you know the drill? I'm like, Coach, I know how to do that 11-man break. So I'd get out on the court. I would run through the drill. I would screw it up. He'd correct me. Then I'd run it again. He would correct me. I would run it again. So now I was getting coaching, repetition, understanding. I would walk and I look at my teammates. I call them my frauds. And I'd look at them and I go, like, if you guys need help, I know how to run that drill. So I can help you if you guys don't know how to do it, okay? And they would just look at me like, okay. So Pat goes into the coaches meeting after practice, and he looks at his coaches. He goes, who is she? What is wrong with this woman? They beat the tar out of her. She never saw the trainer. She never cried. She never said a word. And matter of fact, she tried to start 2 fights. Then they're like, she acts like she's 6'8" in black, and she's the best player here. Okay, so he's telling this in September to all these NBA coaches who I hope will hire me one day. So he goes, and the weird thing, 4 days later, she was my starting point guard. And all the guys on the team deferred to her. And he goes, Nancy, isn't that right? And I'm like, yeah, it's true. And he says, you know what? You taught me so much about life. See, in my eye, you didn't look like the point guard I wanted on my team. There was nothing about you that looked like you were my guy to run this team. And he says, you taught me how to be open-minded, not to be judgmental, not to prejudge people. He says, because you weren't 6'2" or 6'3" or a guy or, he said, I just never actually thought that a woman could run my team. And he goes, and you were fearless. You weren't afraid of anybody. What is wrong with you? And I said, I just want to play basketball. I have no place to play. This is Pat Riley, 34 years later, and he's still telling that story. In a perfect world, Pat Riley, Nancy, how is it that life is equal? See, we come in equal and we leave equal. What? We didn't get my age? Okay. 1958, hash mark, question mark. We come in equal. We leave equal. Like my stuff, it ain't going with me. It's not going with me. That dash is about your legacy. It's about what you leave for other people. Because it can't always be about me. It's about what do I do for other people? How can I help other people? How do I inspire other people? Those are the things that I think about. That's what I tell my son. We have a lot in life, but we're going to give a lot in life. Because it's not mine anyway. I'm just kind of managing God's stuff. It's not mine. Anybody who tells you all their stuff is theirs, they're not telling you the truth. You know, just, you got to pay it forward. That's leadership. I was just with President Clinton and President Bush's daughter Barbara, who started a foundation. And, you know, she was being honored. And she said, you know, I wasn't sure really what I wanted to do with my life. And then I went on a mission with my dad, you know, the former president. And I saw him in Africa. I saw him feeding people. I saw him building bottle schools. I saw him giving medicine. And Barbara Bush says, I knew right then and there what I wanted to do. I wanted to take my generation, 30 and under, and bridge it to my dad's generation. See, I need to connect with everyone here in this room. If we are of like mind, if we believe in what we're doing, if we're willing to work hard, if we're willing to give more than we take, long after I'm gone, you're going to be delivering that message to other people. So I have to bridge my generation with your generation. I love the fact that I'm around young people all the time. I love it because I dig you guys. You're the future. You have so much power. Know the power you don't know you have. Know the power you don't know you have. You can be anything you want to be. You want to be president, you want to be president, we can do this. I can do anything I want to do. I'm going to coach in the NBA one day. And you're going to sit there and go, oh my gosh, that's my girl. I can't believe she's an assistant coach in the NBA. I was going to take her to prom, but her schedule was busy, and you're going to tell some sort of story. But like my guys, Larry Fitzgerald, raise your hand if you know Fitz, if you've ever heard of Larry Fitzgerald. That's my baby. That's my guy. And people go, how do you know Larry Fitzgerald? I said, I am his cougar. Come on. Who are we kidding? But Larry's in New York at the Super Bowl, and he's at a restaurant at the Carnegie Deli the other day, and he texts me, he goes, girl, I am eating this big old sandwich, and there's your picture on the wall. He goes, I love you. And I said, I love you too. Really, like I really love you. No, seriously, I hope you're not getting it wrong. I love you. But I get to be around amazing people. And amazing doesn't have to be Larry Fitzgerald. Amazing is that I get to be with you because you inspire me. And then the real big picture of life, Title IX. I'm not on the stage without Title IX. I was the first full scholarship athlete at Old Dominion University. I didn't even know it. I just thought, you know, you're an athlete, you get a scholarship, that's what guys do. I had no clue. I didn't understand the law. See, Title IX is not an opinion. Title IX is a law. And it says that there's equal opportunity educationally and athletically for both guys and girls. So like for some of the guys right now, you probably like, I liked her story about Larry better. All the guys right now in the NBA, like the Michael Jordans, the Barkleys, the Larry Fitzgeralds, all these guys that have children, they're Title IX dads. I mean, wouldn't you want your sister to have the same opportunities in life as you if she was at that level, right? Can you imagine like a little girl, a young lady not getting a scholarship because there's no funding? I mean, we're at such a different point in life. I mean, I can remember, I was telling the story at dinner, Alonzo Mourning, he used to play for the Miami Heat. In 2000, he had a daughter, Sydney. And he came back from the birth of his daughter, and we're in the lobby of the hotel where the women's basketball team was. And it's Alonzo, myself, Tisha Panachero, who played in the WNBA, played at Old Dominion. And he's beaming. And I go, what's wrong with you? He says, I'm a Title IX dad. He goes, I want my daughter to have the same opportunities in life as my son. So it'll be when you have kids that you understand equality, and it's really a wonderful thing. Sometimes you don't know what you don't have, and then when you get that opportunity, you're so appreciative of it. And every step of the way, you guys, this is like a really smart school. Like, I don't know if I could have graduated here, okay? You guys are brilliant. You can do anything you want to do, truly. And I'll leave you with this. Failure is noble. Failure is noble. Do you know what that means? Anybody? It means you tried. You don't want to be the woulda, coulda, shoulda generation. Oh man, if I just tried out. Man, I could have made that. Let somebody else live that life. You have to try. You must try. You should never be afraid to try. Two things can happen. You can get the job or not get the job. You can make the team or not make the team. And then, when you make the team and you're not getting enough playing time and you're not satisfied with where you are, and then you start chirping to your teammate, oh, I can't believe coach is doing this to me. Yeah, can you believe coach is doing that to her? I can't believe coach is holding us back. Really? Here's how it works. If I get you individually to play better, if I can get you to have a career year, you have a career year, I get my contract renewed, okay? When agents would say to me, you're holding my guy back. No, I'm not holding him back. I'm trying to make him better, but if he would stop throwing the ball to the guy in the other colored jersey, he'd get to play more on my team. If you're such an important influence in his life, you're his agent, watch film with him. Come to me and ask me what we can do. Give me a solution. It's always an option, right? I mean, you want to get the desired results you want. I used to tell my ex-husband, Tim, we met on the Globetrotter Tour in 1988. He was playing for the Washington Generals. We played 200 games in 6 months. We were so depressed we got married, okay? Every game, Tim would get a technical foul. We weren't even dating. I'm like, what is wrong with you? The refs are paid by the Globetrotters. It's a show and you're getting a technical foul. It's unbelievable. Are you really getting the desired results you wish? They're not going to change it. They're the Globetrotters. So understand your environment. We laugh about it now, but back then he was dead set that the ref was going to call the foul on somebody else. Dude, they're paid by the Globetrotters. They're not changing it for you, okay? So understand where you are, understand your circumstances, and the other thing, you've got to see it, you've got to say it to be it. I'll give you an example. Are we okay on time? Everybody good on time? Okay. Bars are not closing yet? Okay. You good? I'm on the USA team in '77. My head coach on the U.S. team, her first coaching job was Pat Summitt. She was my teammate on the 75 Pan Am and the 76 Olympic team. We won the gold medal in the Pan Ams and the silver in the Olympics. Pat Summitt was my teammate. That's crazy. She was yelling at me then, okay? So I am walking to the cafeteria. All the coaches are there with Holly Warlick, who is now the head coach at Tennessee. She was my roommate. Holly spoke like some broken English. She was from like Tennessee. I don't know. To this day, I don't know what she talked. So Holly, she goes, Nancy, can you believe, look at that car over there. And I was like, yo, what you talking about, Holly? What car? Like, we steal stuff like that in New York. That's nice. Can we take it? She said, Nancy, we can't take that car. It's not ours. I'm like, it could be. So you had this little broken conversation. So she goes, that's the nicest car I've ever seen. What is it? So I go, Holly, I don't know. So I walk over and I look at it. It's a convertible. And I go, oh, yeah, it's a Mercedes-Benz. She goes, it's a Mercedes? I said, yeah, it says right there, Mercedes-Benz. So we walk into the cafeteria. We were so stupid. I mean, I was 19, and so we walk in and we see Pat Summitt and Billy Moore and Sue Gunner, and we walk in and we're just like, you know, rocket scientists. Coach, man, like we saw this car, like I'm gonna have 2 or 3 of them, I think. And she goes, well, what was it? I said, Holly, she goes, Coach, it was really nice. It had like a top that came down, and I was like, it's a Mercedes. It's a Mercedes-Benz, and I'm going to have 2 or 3 of them. And she goes, okay, both of you are stupid. and you're like running my team. So somewhere, like I said, is she insulting us? And Holly goes, no, she just talks like that. I'm like, okay. So I go back to Old Dominion. I'm looking at a magazine, and sure shooting, there's a Mercedes-Benz in the ad. So I cut it out and I taped it to, I'm sorry, I'm showing my bad side, but I taped this to my mirror in my bathroom, and every day I brush my teeth and I'm like, I'm gonna get me a Mercedes. Every day I saw that, you know, Oprah has her vision board. I looked at this car every day for 2 years. When I turned pro in 1980 for the Dallas Diamonds in the first Women's Pro League, first car I got, Mercedes-Benz. And I really believe that you have to see it. We're trying to make the playoffs. I told you, Coach Tibbs helped me so much. Every time we put our hand in the huddle, that last 5 games, Legends, playoffs. Legends, playoffs. Legends, playoffs. We heard it. We heard it. We heard it. 50th game of the year. Popovich sends Corey Joseph and Danny Green down. If the Legends make it, we go to the playoffs. If the Austin Toros make it, their affiliate, they go to the playoffs. He sent all his guys that he possibly could from the Spurs down there. We are down, there's 11 seconds to go in the game, 50th game of the year, last game. We're down 9 points with 11 seconds to go, 9 points. We get in the huddle. I'm like, guys, this is what we're going to do. Joe Alexander, Sean Williams, Antonio Daniel, Justin Detman, Rashad McCants. Drop the play. Rashad, stay in that corner. Don't move. The ball's going to come back to you, but when you get it, can you make the 3? He goes, yes, Coach, I can. Joe, Sean's going to screen for you. He's going to pin down. You're going to pop up. You're going to make the pass to Rashad. Can you make that pass? Yes, Coach. Sean, are you going to be able to set that screen? You got to get Joe open. Justin, you're going to be in the far corner. Can you make sure the defense kind of slides your way? Yes, Coach. So everybody bought in. It's not like I'm saying, we got to do this. Everybody had accountability. We run the play, boom, boom, boom. Rashad's in the corner. Boom, he gets it. He hits a 3. We foul. Guy, Corey Joseph, misses 2 foul shots. We call timeout. We drop another play. Everybody had buy-in. Everybody. Because we had this belief and we had this confidence and we've been talking to each other. We come down, we run a play, it's called fade. The Pistons used to run this for Grant Hill and Joe Dumars. We run the play, boom. Justin Detman hits the three, we foul. Corey goes to the foul line, he misses 2 foul shots, we call timeout. We run a last second play, I take Antonio out, we put our best 3-point shooter, Booker Woodfox, played at Creighton. Run a play, Booker is here, he sees the line, he steps back at the buzzer. We scored 9 points in 11 seconds. We got into the huddle. And everybody's like, how did this happen? I'm like, guys, this is amazing. See, this is what reputations are based on. You believing in one another, everybody having buy-in. That's what this whole leadership, that's what this whole team thing is about. We go into overtime. We're down 7 points. It's 3-minute overtime. We come back, we execute. We tie it up at the buzzer. We go into double overtime. We're down 6. We like drama. Okay, we're like TNT. We like drama. We come back. Legends win by 7. We make it to the playoffs. I go in. I look at my cell phone, and Donnie Nelson, the GM of the Mavs, he goes, Coach, we had a great year. I'm so proud of you. It's a tough loss. And then it's like, oh, how the heck did we win? He goes, please disregard my last text. I can remember being in the locker room and Joe Alexander, who was a very quiet guy, just looking at me go, how did this happen? It happened because we believed in one another. You have to believe in each other. Because if I'm a better me, we're a better we, we'll be a better they. I was coaching in Detroit, I told you, in 98. I became the coach and head coach and GM of the Shock. I'm laying in bed one day, watching Dan Patrick on SportsCenter, TJ's 3. He's laying there, and he says, today's a sad day in sports. The greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan, has retired. And Tim and TJ's like hugging me, and he lifts his head, he goes, Mommy? I go, yeah, baby? He goes, Mommy, you told me you were the greatest basketball player of all time. I go, TJ, he's a man, and they don't want to hurt his feelings, baby. So they're saying that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time because, you know, he's sensitive. And Tim looks at me and goes, what do you tell this kid when I'm not around? And I said, I tell him the truth. His mother's the greatest of all times. Thank you so much for being here and letting me share some of my stories. And I'm so, you know, Coach Abel, I'm just so grateful, you know, to you guys for bringing me out here tonight. There's no place I would rather be. If you'd like to maybe have some Q&A, if I don't know what your schedule's like, if anybody has any questions.
Just about 5 minutes if there's any questions.
Anybody? Okay, we do this. No question's a bad question.
What's something that you've never done in your life that you would still like to do or achieve, other than coaching in it?
Something that I've never done?
Yeah, that you've never done before that you still want to do.
Well, I'd like to coach in the NBA. That's the next step for me, but I wish my life on everybody. Every day is a blessing for me because it's not about, you know, the career accomplishments. I like people. I like to laugh. I like to joke around. I don't have any bad days.
What do you do before games to prep yourself or before practice? Just like what would you like tell yourself or how would you prepare?
Well, we're like I said, I'm a minimalist. Like, so we have on our board, we must. I don't see women. First of all, women talk in commas and question marks. Hey, do you want to go eat? You know, I'm like, I'm going to eat. Do you want to go? You know, I ask a question. I don't ask a question. I make a statement sometimes. So we ask our coaches, we must do this. This is why, and this is the results. It's really become a great way to understand where we're going towards. So we'll take our practice plan. This is what we must do today. This is why we're having problems on defense, so we're going to work on defense. The results will be, we'll keep them in the 90s. So we always have a plan. We're people with a plan, but you must be flexible. That's the one thing that I've learned in coaching. You have to be flexible. You think this is what we're going to do, you must prepare for your success. So you have to have options, but if you're going down, go down with your best stuff. When I got the coaching job in Detroit, Red Auerbach called me and he says, "Girl, you're going to get fired one day." I said, "I just got the job." Like Debbie Downer? Come on. But he says, believe in yourself, prepare hard, because agree, disagree, align. If you walk out and your players know that you're unsure, they'll dissect you. So we must know the answers to the quiz. We must, as coaches, know the answers, okay? Because we are teachers, not coaches. We are teachers of this game, and we're teaching character, we're teaching responsibility, we're teaching effort. I am not in control of my reputation, but I'm always in control of my character. It's mine, and I own it. And no matter what anybody says about me, I own my character. I think that's a great rule to live by. That's how we work and we coach. We're always trying to make people better tomorrow than they were today. We're very organized.
I know, especially as a woman, breaking so many barriers, and just as a person in general, there probably had to be some times when you doubted yourself, when you thought, "Can I really do this?" How did you battle through that to achieve such great heights?
There's doubt. Anybody who says there's no doubt is not telling you the truth. But the thing is, I have never been afraid to ask for help. I called Coach Carlisle. I called Alvin Gentry. I called Coach Summit. I mean, I have some really, we all have resources. You guys are going to have me for the rest of your lives. You're going to be able to tweet me. You're going to be able to email me. You're going to be able to go to the website and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Help me." Like Megan, who I just talked to, her goal is to coach and, to do PT in the WNBA. You don't get jobs on your resume anymore. You get jobs because your resume is followed up with, "Hey, hi, this is Nancy. I have known Megan. She's really good. She went to St. Louis. She's really worked hard." So this is called networking. So today, leadership and all this is about networking. Because you might want a job with the Mavs one day. You might want to do something with the Legends one day. And now you're going to have a resource to say, "Hey, I think you need to take a look at this guy." So, when you come in contact with these type of people, and exponentially, it's going to grow. So we have people that intern all the time with my company, and they're with Toby Keith and Kevin Costner and Billy Crystal, and now people are putting that on their resume. I went to Emmett Smith's event, I hung out with Toby Keith, I was with Roger Clemens, and people are like, "How is she do?" If you can get somebody to stop and go, "How does she know these people?" You've separated yourself, but now you got to come with the goods, right? So you have to really prepare yourself for success. But when in doubt, work a little harder, and then reach out to your network of people. They will be there for you. We will be there for you, I promise. Any other questions? Other than that, again, I want to thank each and every one of you. I know it's a long day for y'all with school and playing ball, and I know what that's like. But I'm thrilled to be here. I literally, I asked off. What's the score?
31-28 Thunder.
Thunder up 31-28. This is the first game I've missed this year. I mean, with the Thunder, you don't take a day off. But I asked them because this was really important to me, to be here, to be with y'all. And like I said, from now on, we're a team, because I expect each and every one of you to have intentional greatness, and you can be the greatest of all times. So God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.